We are live.
Hey, whew,
Huge week. For me,
massive.
for you, even bigger. But DC
Oh
week,
man,
and it just keeps coming.
I know. The DC news is fast and furious. Boom.
Now, tell me this. Do you think, and before we really get into it, I just want to ask this. Did anybody know that this was coming before we heard about it? Like, how many months do you think this has been in the works before anybody could say anything?
Oh, it's been a while. It's a good question. It has to have been. I mean, it's a a week, a couple of weeks, a month at least. I mean, minimally. So,
Do you think there,
or they have at least reached out to him for who knows how long ago, and then finally finalized a deal. But yeah.
do you think there's any coincidence at all that we just heard that Kevin Feige basically threw a fit about the reading of Secret Wars, and he was throwing tables and yelling and stuff like that. Do you think is that any connection at all, you think?
Oh,
I
I
mean,
kind
he
of doubt
has to
it.
be a little frustrated, I would think, on this. Just a little bit.
I mean that he lost that James Gunn is over here. I
Or
mean,
just that, I mean, you all basically get rid of James Gunn, and then he gets pretty much comparable. I know MCU is way bigger right now. I'm not trying to fictitiously say they aren't, but he sort of got the same kind of thing that you have right now.
yeah, he definitely did. And before his little scandal and Disney let him go, he was going to be Kevin's right hand man. He was going to carve out the entire cosmic MCU portion. Was going to be James Gunn. He was going to do all of that and probably be, helping Kevin out a lot more also. And then, he was unceremoniously let go. So,
I think
uh,
that's my main question though. If you've worked with people that you either train or that is supposed to be a very, you know, big chess piece on your board for your work, and you're training them differently than you would someone you're thinking is going to leave at any time, and you're investing and you're talking. Did Kevin Feige talk to some strategy things to James Gunn that now all of
oh,
a sudden, oh crap,
yeah.
he knows my plan, he knows my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm sure there was definitely that. Now, whether Kevin's super mad, he can't be super mad because he didn't want to fire James Gunn. That
Mm,
was above him. That was like Disney corporate board, whatever, said he's got to go. At least according to everyone that has talked about it, like, hey, Kevin really didn't want to do that.
okay.
That's why he came back for Guardians 3.
Yep.
So, he was
And then the special that's coming up.
and the special. So, but he's got to be thinking, well, I can't blame James for doing this, but he knows a lot of my stuff.
Yeah.
So,
And now we can go ahead and get into it. Gigantic news. I think, honestly, even though the week has been filled with DC news, I think we can't lie that this is the biggest news that DC has made right now.
yeah, I mean, this was huge. It wasn't just even that they finally got someone to be the DC head. It's like who it is, like James Gunn. Holy crap! Peter Safran is, probably not as known to people other than those that really follow productions and what have you. So he
But
wouldn't be as
man,
familiar.
he should be, from what I've been reading about him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the Conjuring universe, that's, you know, he's produced all those. Then he's done Shazam, Aquaman, I believe. And then the new Aquaman and the new Shazam. So, I mean, yeah, he's well versed in putting a universe together and well versed with the DC already. And then you couple that with James Gunn, who is the creative, and then you've got the producer. So, they sometimes have ran into that before where they had Jeff Johns who
Yeah.
tried to run it. He's a creative, but he's not. I mean, he does stuff, but
He's
I
not a
mean,
director
he's
like
not a movie guy. He's just
yeah.
not. He's an amazing creator, but he's not a movie guy. And then you had Walter Hamada, who was a total movie guy, didn't have any history of DC, didn't know squat.
Yep.
Well, now you've got bang. You've got both pieces in with the two guys here. So
So before we really dive into what is on the article, I want to know because you are a movie buff, you are a superhero buff. I want to know from you, is this the marriage that you could have dreamed up? And if you would have thought about this 6 months ago, in your mind, would this have worked?
this was not on my radar at all. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is a dream come true. I'd actually heard Peter Safran's name mentioned, like, oh, okay, he might be all right. That was real recent, but the James Gunn is a mega bomb shocker. That no, I didn't have him on my radar. Wouldn't have thought he would do it. He's a director, pretty
Yeah.
famous one, pretty popular one. So I'm like, well, so now he's mostly going to be an executive. I guess he still has it on the table he could direct, but
In that
so no.
article, it says that he's going to be able to direct some, not as many, but some.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna pick some of the project he's been nursing here a little bit and probably do one of those. So, but yeah, no, this is pretty huge. Really couldn't have anticipated this. I didn't, and really nobody did. All the scoopers.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's just kind of gobsmacked, and so yeah, this was completely out of left field.
What's up, Sam? Look who's here. Sam hasn't been here forever. What's going
Oh
on, man?
wow. Well, we haven't been here that often either.
I mean, that's true. I My question to you on this though is, James Gunn has always loved to get that character that isn't as well known. And I mean Peacemaker, he's done a great job with Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Um but the rumor is since he has now been put in this position, he might be looking to actually go after a big, character instead of focusing on the small ones. You being a Superman fan, would that excite you at all if he would do something like that?
I know. Somebody said, "Oh, the likelihood of him doing Superman now is through the roof." I'm like, eh. I really like James Gunn. I've got to say, I love both the Guardians movies. I love Peacemaker. I absolutely love Suicide Squad. I don't get anyone who thinks that sucks, but
I
there are
agree.
people that do. They're like, "Oh, it's terrible." I'm like, okay. I don't know. I don't want him to do Superman. I really don't. I won't throw a fit in a conniption because I might be pleasantly surprised because Henry is there.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would want him to tackle Superman.
Would you be a little too
Mm,
worried about too much funny stuff?
I would. I would. I think James is going to be really good at picking the right people to do the right projects. And I think
Okay.
he knows the characters. I mean, obviously, he knows all these deep characters, and sometimes he goes a little too far with them, like Drax or Vigilante. But um, so I think I like him in this position. I actually am pretty excited about it. But to direct Superman, I really hope he doesn't go that route.
Okay. So then I got another curveball for you. I understand that, and I think I agree with you on Superman because I wouldn't want him to do a Batman. I mean, I wouldn't want that to
No,
happen.
I mean that. No.
Um, I'm not going to give you the character yet, but I'm going to tell you a question, but I'm going to say my character before you do. Out of the main characters of DC, and I'm talking the main ones, not just Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Flash.
Okay.
I'm talking main. There's
Okay.
one character that I would be interested in him doing because I do think it would be good, and that is Green Lantern.
Yeah. That might work. He does have that cosmic angle, and he was going to spearhead the whole MCU cosmic side. I think he could do a really killer Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah, I would go for that. I would be like, I think we can make that work.
Do you think that he could do a Justice League?
Uh, I don't know. Right now, if I just had to say, I'd be like, I don't think so. I think he could do it, but I just don't. I'd be 50-50 on it. I mean,
Maybe
he
you would
does
want to,
Guardians,
and maybe you would want to see him how he does Green Lantern. That's not as funny as
right?
Peacemaker, and see how he could do that to transition to Justice League. But I,
Yeah,
I do think something's going to happen fast. I think we're going to hear something in the next 2 weeks that is the ball's already rolling on something.
yeah. And I wish I could recall the date, but there's some investor call coming up very soon, and I think it's in the article. I don't know for sure,
Oh,
but I mean, the both those two guys start their job November 1st. I mean,
yep,
that's day one. So it does feel like I totally agree with you. Either that day even or whenever this investor call, which is very close to that day, I think we're gonna hear some bombs drop like, oh, this is who's directing Superman, or these are the new projects we're working on. I really do. I think we're gonna hear something definitive outside of what we already know with Constantine, Joker 2, Batman 2, which
yeah.
those two projects are outside of all this. So,
Sam says it will work, but I'm glad they let him go because he's not a James Gunn fan. I understand
oh, I think
that,
I
but
remember that.
I as a DC fan though, I think this is like if we didn't hit like a home run, like a walk-off home run, I believe that we still hit like a double in the gap that scored the winning run on this one right here.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a talented director. Um, Man, I really do like his style. It's just one of those things where it doesn't fit every character.
Right.
So, would he adapt his style to a character, or is he gonna just do his style with every character, and you're like, okay, you know what you're gonna get. That's why with Superman, I'm like,
Well,
not for me.
Sam says he's going to knock it out of the park with Superman and Wonder Woman, but he's going to slip with Batman and Aquaman. And I sort of disagree with that. And it's only on the last part of Aquaman because Saffron still is there. He's as much of a CEO as what James Gunn is. And he's not going to
Right,
allow something that he's already had something to do with on Aquaman to go. James Gunn isn't just going to walk in and take over everything. He's going to be like, nope, that's mine.
right. I mean that is true in my opinion too, Sam, is that he can't direct all those. I do believe in my heart of hearts that, James seems like he does get the characters. He might choose to do something a little quirky with them, but he does know them. So in his position, there's no way he's gonna like, let's go hire that comedian director to do Batman.
Yeah.
I feel very confidently between the two of them, they will put the right people in the right creatives. Uh, ideally, I would hope. I want to see him stick with whatever his projects were with like the Secret Six, or I'm sure the Amanda Waller thing is still going to happen, or
Yeah.
or Checkmate, or my dream for him to do, to me, is like a Booster Gold Blue Beetle
Mm.
movie would be like that would be lights out, James Gunn comedy, but also he'd have the heart, he'd have the serious action. That would be my pick. But we'll see. I mean, I don't think they're gonna go into a blue Booster Gold movie right now. They're gonna focus on the big guns. I mean, it's gonna be, you know, Wonder Woman 3's got to get off the ground. The Superman is probably the highest priority, and
Yep.
then figuring out what is gonna happen with Batman, because I feel like this. I feel like these guys being hired. I feel like I don't really like to give Mikey and Sil too much credit, but I think they might be right with. I think Affleck is probably close to signing, or maybe already has. I think he's going to come back as Batman.
Well, and this sort of puts it on there a little bit more is the Joker filmmaker where they say on here is going to stand alone still.
Yep, Yep.
Um, they sort of were not saying that exactly with the Matt Reeves stuff, but said it is what it is currently.
Yeah.
Um, that tells me you can't have a James Gunn cohesive DCU without a Batman in
Y-
that DCU.
You have to have Batman. I mean, come
So
on.
so they're gonna either, like you said, they're either gonna sign Ben Affleck, and if they do, we're gonna get bombarded with movies like boom, 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 fast. It's they're gonna start out with something with Superman, so it can lead into something with Black Adam, and
Yeah.
then they're going to have to start working on another movie of Batman with Ben Affleck, which they haven't ever done a single with Ben Affleck yet.
Yeah. No.
And then they're gonna have to go a Justice League.
Yeah. I mean, according to them, those two guys, and I have a feeling this could be correct, that he signed for 3 solo movies and 1 special project, but it wasn't a Justice League movie.
A Henry Cavill did.
No, excuse me, Ben Affleck.
Okay.
So, I mean, they've already got Henry. I don't know what he signed for, but I'm sure it's a Black Adam and a solo Superman and whatever else. I'm sure he got all kinds of stuff. But for Ben Affleck, it's supposedly 3 solo movies and a special appearance somewhere, a Trinity movie or who knows. But so far, not a Justice League. And I think you're right. I think Ben's going to go back and do, if this is true, I would have said no a couple of weeks ago, like, no, this is not true. Now, I think it could be. I think it is going to be that Deathstroke versus Batman movie that he was originally going to do.
Oh,
And, but I mean, yeah, because Ben wrote most of it. I think
yeah.
he had collaborated with Jeff Johns a little bit, but I think they'll be like, hey, yeah, this was great. Ben's not going to direct it. The part of this deal, though, was with Warner Brothers. He gets to do some of his own special projects. He can go direct a couple of his own whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
So that's part of the gig, I think. And I think it's a distinct possibility that this is what's going to happen, because you're right. How do you have this big cohesive universe, which is pretty exciting to hear about, and not feature Batman in it? It makes no sense. You cannot have. I don't care what happens at the end of the Flash. You can't do that with a 71-year-old Batman. Michael
Yep.
Keaton, love him, but you can't do that. And obviously, Matt Reeves is not going to let you take Pattinson, and he wouldn't fit into it anyway. So what are you going to do?
And I think another thing about this whole thing, we talked about a long time ago when we heard about the sale. And, it took a while before the new regime came in. We were talking about the old regime is going to set stuff up almost to fail even worse because they were ready for it to fail. Like the stuff that you're hearing about Flash is Henry Cavill's Superman was going to die in this one,
Yeah, I
and
mean, he was.
th-
That
they were
is. Yeah,
they were getting rid of everyone. Like we're
yeah.
getting rid of you all, and I don't know if their plan was to start completely fresh, but thank God the new regime is like, nope, we're hiring, we're we're getting some big guns and James Gunn and Saffron, and then we're going to tell you that Henry Cavill's coming back, and we're going full bore. They're not going to do all of this stuff, in my opinion, and not go full bore.
I agree. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, I still think it's tricky. I think you and I feel one way about the Ray Fisher situation. I think he got way out of line with it, even though if he was treated a little not great. But having said that, we won't go into all that with Ray Fisher. But I think even he's on the table to come back. Uh,
And I'm going to tell you this: if I didn't know any of that stuff that went on behind the scenes, I enjoyed
oh
the
yeah,
cyborg on um
the Snyder
Zack
cut.
Snyder
Hmm.
cuts.
Yeah.
I mean a lot, where I would say bring me a full movie of him and just
Oh
him.
yeah. Whatever I think of what he did afterwards and all the shenanigans he still continues to engage in, why he won't let it go, I don't know. But yes, I very much liked his performance. I would want to see more of that character. Thought he did a great job. 100%. So,
I,
but
I
yeah,
I'd be all
I
for
think
that.
even he is on the table. I think it might not happen just because of the bad blood. Even with the new regime, they may be like, "Whoa, this guy is a little bit out there. I don't know if we want to deal with him again." but I think he's on the table. I do.
If he is on the table, you got to make some laws. I mean, it's got to be concrete that you're not going to be doing this. We're coming to
Yeah,
you because we're willing to work with you. We're willing to let bygones be bygones. But
yeah.
man, you got to be done.
Well, it's like, dude, you got to realize there are bosses in the world, and sometimes if the boss wants you to do a certain scene a certain way, that's your
Especially
job.
that your character has always done it like that.
That's your job. You
Yeah,
may not like it or agree with it, but guess what? You are not Tom Cruise.
right.
You're basically a nobody right now. So,
Now I'm going to say this. I think, man, just 3 weeks ago, I would have told you that DC's almost dead. And we were saying if Black Adam doesn't do well,
yeah,
DC is done.
yeah.
And the excitement I have now for DC is through the roof, actually,
Oh,
because
yeah,
I'm also hoping another thing that they do, and I hope Black Adam's proved it, is get out of the political stuff, get out of the
yeah.
everyday drama that's on TV, get out of it. I'm not saying don't
Right,
talk about it and don't have a LGBTQ character, but don't
right,
make
right.
it the focal of everything that we're doing. And
Yeah,
if you make stuff like that, they have a chance to blow by, in my opinion, in the MCU. Like blow
yeah.
by them right now.
I mean, they have a real opportunity. I mean, the only disadvantage right now is that they are going to have a gap. You know, they have all of 23 pretty well taken care of with old product Aquaman, Shazam, Blue Beetle, and Flash. So what are they going to be able to pump out in 2024? And I hope they can keep the momentum going. And I think you're right. If they can keep this level of enthusiasm up with Henry Cavill, if they somehow really did snag Ben Affleck Batman, ooh. And you're right. I think they will. I mean, James Gunn is a super liberal guy, but I think he's, from everyone that works with him, and we won't go into the scandal with the P word, uh, but it's like every person that's worked with him like really likes him. I mean, he's really endeared with his talent. They respect him. They think he's a great guy. So that is a huge bonus too for him to be in this position. I think you're going to get some talent coming his way, and maybe saying, "Hey, you know what? I
Yeah.
don't know that I would have worked with DC before. Now, I think sign me up." And
Does
you're right.
James, if James Gunn was here, does he allow the movie Wonder Woman 1984 to even go out?
Um, I think those two guys are going to say, "Whoa, Patty, this script is a disaster."
You got to get back to the first one.
Yeah,
The first one was fantastic.
yeah. I mean, there is rumors that Zack Snyder and his production team heavily, heavily influenced that first one. And I
It
mean,
does look like a little bit like it.
when you watch both of those movies, it's like I don't understand how it's the same director.
Yeah.
They are so vastly different, and one is so superior to the other. It's quite shocking. So,
So speaking of, I mean, let's stay with this for a little bit, but I want to transition from movies. Can HBO Max become anything like Disney Plus is now they are with the MCU for now DCU being like that for HBO Max. You put here that the Green Lantern HBO Max is getting retooled to be all about John Stewart. Is that something that they will
yeah.
start using more and more? Do you see that happening, or do you think it's all going to be about movies?
Well, here's two things to consider. We're not quite sure what HBO Max is going to look like in another year as the merger is completely solidified, and they kind of combine Discovery Plus and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still some concern, mixed messages in the media about, well, HBO Max isn't even going to exist in a year, so it doesn't matter. or he's scaling back all these shows. They don't want original content. That's what they've said. And then over here on the DC side, they say, oh, they want that synergy, like the Suicide Squad Peacemaker thing. They love
Yeah.
that. I'm like, okay, so let's go with, if that's the case, they got James Gunn in there who's already done that. Let's go with that as the premise they are going to have. So I like that idea. I think it's really exciting because I mostly like the Disney Plus stuff. I like the idea of it. Not
Yeah.
everything is hit, but that's to do with the talent, and the She-Hulk was such a bust. But I think on this side of things, if they could do that, I think that's going to be awesome. Um, I don't know if we want to talk about the Green Lantern show about what happened with that, uh,
Yeah.
but so today it was reported that the evergreen Green Lantern Corps show that can never seem to come to fruition, but it isn't dead, is sort of dead but alive at the same time. So the old show that was going to happen, featuring Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, and some other Green Lanterns, and be a multi-year saga, kind of jumping through various Green Lanterns, is dead. But their idea of a Green Lantern HBO Max show is still very much alive, and they're retooling it completely with Greg Berlanti, and this will feature Jon Stewart. And they're gonna slash the budget on it. I don't think that means the show's going to be cheap. It just means instead of having 5 to 7 Green Lanterns, you have one.
Yeah.
That will tighten the budget up, and you can still have some amazing Green Lantern effects, but you're not having it spread out over 7 different Green Lanterns. So,
Isn't
uh,
that smarter?
I think so. Um, Here, it's good and bad to me. So when I heard the news, I was like, "Oh, cool! That's good. We'll get a Jon Stewart Green Lantern project. That's exciting." However, for me, if you can believe the rumors, it's like, I did, if the rumors were true, like the idea of a Green Lantern Corps TV show where we got Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Jessica Simon, while there was going to be a movie featuring Hal and John as Buddy, kind of like a Lethal Weapon in space, that were going to go hand in hand. So you had the big guns, which are Hal and John, and then you had the show with some of the other Green Lanterns, and I thought that sounded ideal.
And see,
But
I think of it a little bit differently because you are already so knowledgeable about all that kind of stuff, and the Green Lantern Corps can go so deep. I mean, it could honestly be its own universe if we're being honest.
yeah,
Um, I also think though, if you introduce John Stewart and is successful, then you sort of introduce another character and expand it that way on the success.
right.
Don't make it all fast because then you're giving almost too much too quick.
And that's true. I mean, they may be looking at like, hey, we already did one Green Lantern movie and it bombed. And even though it's been, what, 11 years now, um, it's still in people's memory, and maybe they want to start out smaller. As a Hal fan though, I'm like, oh man, where does this leave Hal? Is this, what does this mean for that character? Are we just going full John and forget Hal, or are we seeing how John does? Is that a success? Can we
Yeah.
transition to a movie now with Hal and John? Maybe.
See, I think if you go John in HBO Max, I think that even gives you a better chance of getting Hal in a movie.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, in these political times, I'm sure they're wanting that representation of John, and I like John Stewart, I do, but he pales in comparison to me to Hal. Um, I mean, he's kind of boring. I hate to say. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
he is. I mean, he's probably has been the most interesting ever is on the Justice League cartoon, and
yeah.
that's where a lot of people feel he is the Green Lantern, and he was really good on that. That's where he had the best character development, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
I
we'll see.
I I like him on that a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Um I think this is a good transition to what you were just about to say on they need, different cultures, and that's why you're thinking maybe John over Hal. Um, Black Adam.
Oh man, yeah,
One thing that is driving me absolutely insane about this, and I don't understand it at all. If there was okay, say the new Captain America came out
right.
and it bombs. Captain America, they're all going to say that it did because of racism. And Black Adam came out and I don't get why critics can trash it, but if we trashed it, it would be because we're racist. Where critics are free to do whatever they want and say whatever they want, but they're not being racist, but they point the finger so fast at everybody else in a situation. And man, when you are a critic and it's 40% to 90%, there's something majorly wrong there that is that big of a
Yeah,
difference, in my opinion.
I mean that is such a huge. I mean, there has been other projects like that, but this was one of the bigger gaps. I mean, I think Venom is one where the critic
Yeah.
scores are terrible and the audience score is very positive. But wow, this one is very, 90%, and it keeps staying at 90%. While I think it even dropped to 39 at one point for the critic score. Yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah, you're right. You know why though? There's no message in this movie. So I anticipate, I could be wrong. I haven't seen the movie yet, obviously. But when Cat 4 comes out, more than likely there's going to be a bit of a message in there, just like there was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just like in She-Hulk, who has a great critic ratings, there's a message about feminism, what have you. Uh, some people may be more aggravated by it than not, but it's still there. And all those shows have this message. There's an undercurrent of a message, a message, a message. So how dare you criticize it? I anticipate Black Panther is going to have amazing reviews, which are supposed to be out tonight. They may even be out now. The first critic reactions. I
On
would
Rotten
anticipate.
Tomatoes?
No, probably more on Twitter. The premiere happened
Oh,
tonight, and so I'm
got
sure
you.
people are walking out. They probably can't give a full review, but they can say, "Oh, the movie was awesome." I anticipate it's going to be through the roof. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a tribute to Chadwick, and the movie might be really good. So obviously, I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but there's an undercurrent of a message in all those, and how dare you go against it? Black Adam, there ain't no message. I mean, there was a little bit on colonialism, maybe, but it's in a fictional country, so
But
and it's very much like
there's
it's
no
mostly
message the
balls to the
other
wall.
way. It's just a movie.
Yeah, it's the thing. That's the thing, though. There isn't a message. It's just balls to the wall, superhero action. The Rock is a spectacle. I'm basically showing you a wrestling match in superhero form, and this is what people want to see and jump up and down. And we get a major character back at the end, and look how kick-ass Doctor Fate and Hawkman are.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, we'll trash it because you're not really fitting the narrative of what something should be said. So therefore, we are going to, if we kind of think the movie's we're gonna trash it. Whereas if we thought Cat 4 or She-Hulk is well, we better praise it.
Yeah. So I got to ask this. Sam says that 40-90% on Black Adam, that's way too high. I got to know what he means by way too high because one, has he seen the movie? And if I'm not saying 90%, but I'm saying it's the mid 80s to high 80s to me because I was just entertained the whole time.
Yeah.
And you've seen
Uh,
it at least twice, right?
right. Yeah, man. Is it going to win any Oscars and be this deep kind of thing? No. I mean, was probably the Batman a better crafted, well directed movie? Yeah. But guess which one I'm going to put on in the background or put on randomly to watch because it's freaking kick ass.
Yeah.
It's one of those shows that has extreme rewatchability and it's super eye candy. and it's got two of my favorite characters of all time in the movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it just clicks like all the like, oh my gosh, action. Yep. Characters I've wanted to see on screen forever. Yep. Do I personally like The Rock? I do. So check. I thought he did a great job. Check. DC Universe tie-in. Yep. Named. It's like boom, 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 boom. So for me, yeah, this is up there.
You know, another thing that I guarantee you bothers all the feminist people. Man, this is gonna be tough to say without being a jerk. I really, really enjoyed the character, and I can't remember her name, so help me. The mom. I
Oh
really
yeah.
enjoyed her character, and
I
she
can't.
was a
Yeah.
badass in
Yeah.
this movie. I mean, she was tough as nails. She stood her ground. She believed in what she believed in and went for it and fought for it.
Yeah. She's pretty
And
cool.
what is wrong with that?
Yeah. I
Where
mean,
are the
she's.
women at standing up saying, "Yes, you go, girl"?
I know. It's like she doesn't get any real praise. I mean, it's like I didn't feel like there was any feminist thing there. She was just kick ass. And a little note: if anyone thought she was really cool and is a fan of her performance, go watch her in the TV series "Person of Interest" with Jim Caviezel. She was in the last several seasons, and she kicked ass on that show too. So, uh, yeah, she was great, absolutely great.
The uncle was funny as hell too.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty funny. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there was a few jokes that didn't land for me, but overall, there were several that did. But also, it wasn't just a joke fest.
Yeah,
It wasn't trying to be Thor: Love and Thunder, basically a flat out comedy. It was mostly serious, fun action with a few quips that were great. I mean, kind of reminded me The Rock is maybe going for the old Schwarzenegger of our youth, where we get the little one liners that aren't corny but are classic.
and what does he
So,
mean by the Sam? I left the theater disappointed with myself. Sam,
Sam.
then
Not,
your thoughts are way too high. Every movie cannot be Endgame or Infinity War. I mean, it's just not going to be. But this
yeah, I
was
get.
good. This was just an entertaining good. This
Yeah.
this to me, I enjoyed Suicide Squad,
Oh yeah.
but this was like even more for me than the Suicide Squad, and I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those movies that I mean, look, peak superhero cinema for me is the weightiness of I mean, Infinity War to me is time as went on, and if you subtract the big end game battle at the end, it's like, man, Infinity War for me was like perfect, weighty, like holy crap, there's serious stakes in here. The ending was incredible, and then the action.
Yeah,
I mean, that's Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider Man fighting in oh my gosh, that's still just like whoa, this is perfection superhero cinema. Now, does Black Adam have that real weightiness and stakes? No, but does it have spectacle superhero action that I'm like, holy crap? It's like it's got that Man of Steel action that I mean, Man of Steel. It's like even if you don't like the movie, you have to appreciate the action. It's so phenomenal, and this had that in spades.
yeah.
So for me, yeah, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. I mean, I can see some of the criticism, sure, but uh, I
It's,
can't imagine anyone saying like, "Yeah, I really rather go watch Thor: Love and Thunder." And I'm not trying to pick on the MCU. I love actually Thor movies up until Love and Thunder. It's just like I don't understand
well,
how you would like. Yeah, I think yeah, Love and Thunder. Okay, yeah, it's a Razzie, man. It's a Razzie.
I'm with at least Sam made my day on saying that.
Yeah,
Now
Thor's a Razzie.
I'm with you on Infinity War and Endgame, but in my mind, one of the my top ones, and I would say it's even over Infinity War, and it's just for me,
Sure.
is Winter Soldier and Civil War.
Oh yeah.
I love
Uh,
Winter Soldier, man. I could watch Winter Soldier all the time.
well, I don't. want to copy that too much, but yeah. I mean, if I want to say big spectacle superhero, it's in Infinity War. But what's my all-time favorite superhero movie outside of the first Superman? Uh, yeah, it's Winter. I mean, hands down, the greatest actual movie is Winter Soldier. Especially in the MCU. Yeah, it's so.
I
And
love it.
don't get mad, Batman fans. And I know Nolan's amazing, but I pick it over all three of the Nolan movies. Even I mean, it helps that I probably love Captain America just a little bit behind Superman. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Winter Soldier is peak. That has everything too. But when you get like mega spectacle, like I think Black Adam is going for the mega spectacle, like Infinity War of just huge superhero action, just
Yeah.
battles in the sky, on the ground. I mean, each punch counts.
Yep.
It's right up there.
How much does this help DC?
Black Adam's performance.
Can you
Yeah, I
see the
mean,
numbers?
uh,
152 million, 152.6 million worldwide.
yeah, I mean, these numbers are good. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's not a home run number. It would be. I mean, it's doing better than Shazam, but it's doing close to Shazam. And you would say like, well, everyone paints Shazam as this big hit, which it was, but its budget was literally half of
Mm.
what Black Adam was. So you got to take in consideration the budget. But here's the good news, everyone. Black Adam is officially coming to China on November 11th, and Black Adam, or The Rock is huge in China. That's where Aquaman made like 300 million in China alone. That's how it crossed a billion is because of China. So
So
that really is going to help the Black Adam box office numbers because right now I'd say, hey, this is a solid double. This was not a flop. It's not a home run, but mostly it's well received. Box office is good. Word of mouth is good, and now we're getting a China release. So this is overall, it's good news.
what is is this why we're seeing the big announcements happening? Do you think anything was hinged on how Black Adam was going to go over, or do you think these big announcements were already going to happen?
I'd say more than likely these type of announcements were already going to happen. Because let's say Black Adam was kind of bombing, you might just want to shuffle Black Adam news out the door and just focus on the Henry, the James. All it's like, oh, Black Adam's not doing good. But guess what, guys? Look at all the big news we're having. DC's still on track. Don't worry, we're coming. We've got Aquaman, Flash, and we got all the new stuff. We're still set, even though this was a little bit of a stumble. But thankfully that hasn't happened. It's not a stumble. It's not a bomb. It was probably, would they have hoped for a little more? Yeah, I'm sure. But it's definitely, like I said, it's a solid double. Could be a triple if we get good China numbers.
Okay. What what is coming out next for I know for movies in general it's the new Black Panther, but what's coming out next supposedly for DC?
Okay, so I should remember this. We have
It's not Shazam, is it?
Yeah, it's Shazam. I just can't remember if Shazam was moved to February or March. I'm pretty sure Ant-Man is March or February. I think February 17th is Ant-Man. So I want to say Shazam is March because then I think it's June for Flash, August for Blue Beetle, and then we have to wait a whole flipping over a year for Aquaman 2. I think that's crazy, but it is what it is. So that's what they have. Okay, yeah, I was right. March.
And
That's
then Flash June 23rd.
mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Blue Beetle is August,
And
and
they haven't
then
announced that that is not happening, is still going through.
yeah, Blue Beetle is a go. I supposedly had a screening and was very well received. They're not going to cancel this one. It should be fine.
How much does this have to do well to have any chance to do Booster Gold?
Oh, I think this needs to do Shazam numbers. It doesn't have to be. I don't anticipate this costing that much. I think if you get 300 to 400 million worldwide, you're a home run. That's a sequel. That can open the door for a booster.
Shazam is going to be like The Rock might be here. I could see him making an appearance at the end. I think they're going to have to intertwine that. I mean, it's way
Yeah.
more of a natural fit with Shazam than it is with Superman.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it makes the most sense to have Billy and Superman in a black the three of them in a movie together. You could have a battle in the movie of just Superman and Black Adam, let them go at it, but having that without Shazam still doesn't make a lot of sense to me
Yeah.
storyline wise. And I bet James Gunn and Peter Safran are gonna say, yeah, when we do this, it's gonna be more than just that. And I think The Rock said that, and he's given so many interviews lately. He said something that's not just going to be the battle. There'll be more to it than that. And I think the more to it is going to be Shazam.
Yeah.
So
it has Aquaman: The Last Kingdom on December 25th.
yeah.
Now, my question is, the next one is The Joker, October 4th of 2004 or 24. There's
Dang,
got
is
to be
that? Ooh, holy
the
crap!
there's got to be something in between. Is there
I don't
any
know.
chance of a Superman or something in March of 2024?
No chance.
Just because of how long it takes?
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, they'd have to have things going like quick. Like they'd have to have. I was really thinking they did already have a script kind of ready to go. They could just get Henry signed, find a director, and get this DC head figured out. I thought maybe they could go pretty quick, but sounds, at least according to whatever Variety or Hollywood Reporter, they're in the middle of taking pitches on Superman. So it's like, oh geez, they don't. I mean, they probably have an outline of maybe what they want, but they aren't that far advanced. So, wow, I think. I mean, the fact that is Joker October.
It
Wow,
says October. That's
that's
the next
really
one.
far. Wow. Yeah, my guess is I mean the rumor was Christmas 24.
I
Uh
I think this is where DC could majorly mess up at the same time. They can't have almost a year between two movies
I know.
and the fans be okay with that. Even if you're announcing in 2024 we're going to have or in 2025 we're going to have Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
You can't even make that announcement. You're still a year of anything major. And people will consider it even longer because there's a lot of people out there that don't even consider the Joker as a part of the DC anyway.
Well, yeah, he's really and he's not. I mean, he is, but he
Right.
isn't. I think but they're stuck. They don't have anything in production is their problem. They don't have anything. The only option I can think of is this. You have Joker coming out 24. If you can get that Keanu Reeves up and going, the Constantine, you could get that out in 24. So that would be another Disney release. Then if you could squeeze out your first major production, which I think will be Superman, um, you could squeeze him. You could probably, I think you could move up Joker. Well, you could have Joker October, and then Christmas, you'd have Superman. And then you could have Constantine,
In the
somewhere
summer.
early. Yeah, and you could do this if they really wanted to have more product in 24, because you have 4 movies is a lot. I could see them bumping Blue Beetle to February of 24. To give something a release in February, it'd be a new property.
Mhm.
Because you don't want to keep delaying Aquaman. and
Well,
your
and you
big,
got June. The end
yeah,
of June
no,
is the Flash, and then August is Blue Beetle. So maybe they will bump that back.
yeah, because they're
And
pretty close
Aquaman's not the
together.
one that people are going to want bumped back.
No, no, you need to keep Aquaman where it was. That it opened Christmas, the first one, Christmas time. You can't keep delaying Flash. It's done. You have it in June. Of course, you have Shazam already. I think if they want to try to put more product in 24, you either bump Blue Beetle, have Constantine ready to go. You've got Joker, and then I think Superman could squeak in at the end. And then 25, you're going to have Wonder Woman, Batman, probably some other things
And
going.
then
Yeah.
26 a Justice League or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think 25 you'll have something Black Adam again. That's what I and then well, I mean 25, yeah, you'll have at least the Batman sequel and then maybe something Batfleck. But again, I
Ooh,
don't know. Batman's still the messy part of the equation though.
that's just weird. If you have the Batman and then a Batfleck in the
I
same
know.
year, that's weird.
See, when you say you got two schools of thought, when you say, well, it doesn't make any sense not to have Batman in the DCU universe. But it also doesn't make sense to have two Batman movies out with two different guys in two separate universes. I don't know what they're going to do with that situation. It's going to be real interesting.
I don't think they can have. I don't think those movies can be in the same year.
I agree too. But the problem is, you're also, if you have Ben Affleck, it's like he's not getting any younger to keep in Batman shape. You got to make these movies. So,
You're not going to be able, in my opinion, too, with DC. You're not going to be able to have any of these actors doing anything else. You're going to have to spit out movie after movie. Justice League is going to be filming, at the same time or something as something else. It's just going to
yeah.
have to be going.
Yeah, for all the Snyder naysayers or contrarians who didn't want this to go on, the one point they did have is time. It's like, we've had basically 5 years of no Snyderverse movement much with the Trinity. Well, I mean, it's outside of Wonder Woman. You Batman, no. Superman, no. Everyone's running out of time here to make, and these movies take forever to make.
Yeah.
So that is concern. Like, I'm not worried about Henry. He looks great. He's not even 40 yet. I mean, he's fine. But Rock 50, Ben 52 or 3. Yeah,
Yep.
you're running out of time here to make some of these. You're right. It's like when they get the pedal to the metal, they're gonna have to go to the floorboard.
Yep.
So I agree. So it's gonna be real interesting. I think we are gonna hear some stuff soon. Um, yeah. So we're gonna find out.
I think it's exciting for sure.
Oh yeah.
Finally.
I
Okay.
mean,
I don't have anything else. Do you?
no, I mean, I'm just so happy and everyone online that we actually have Henry Cavill back as Superman. It's just kind of, and not, I mean, we knew he was back as in Black Adam. Spoiler, sorry. Uh, but to have him actually put out his video that he's back, so it's just so great. I'm sorry, what did Sam say there?
I gotta block this last user over here.
I know you're not wrong, Sam. They were kind of they were rushing it the last time. Uh, but it's one of those things in hindsight. Now you're like, they should have just let Zach finish his movie. They should have left Suicide Squad alone and let David Ayer put it out as is. And boy, they just panicked when BVS didn't quite hit. They should have just kind of stayed the course. And man, they could have been there.
Yeah.
Uh, they rushed it a little bit, but then they panicked and just blew it up.
At the same time, I really, really feel deep that even though all those things happen, looking at it now has happened for the best because I do think in the position they are now with Gunn being the CEO, I think I'm more positive now about the DCU than I was back then even.
I am too. I'm real excited. I think they have all the right pieces. You have the actors all there, outside the Batman question. Yeah, I think they really have all the tools at their disposal to. And let's be honest, the MCU is not going anywhere, nor do I want it to. But they're a little bit on their heels right now. I mean, DC. I think you hit a couple more solid hits. Uh, they could really start taking some momentum. And I don't. I love Marvel. I do not want to see them go down because I mean, to me, they're pretty much neck and neck. I give DC just a little edge in favoritism, but I can't say I wouldn't love for DC to finally get a little more respect and be up there. I would love to see that.
Uh, okay, so Sam saying, "Look how bad it is for Marvel now. DC needs to be at least a 10-year story."
Yeah, I agree, and I think.
It's
Well,
not the
guess what?
same. It's not the same. They don't
Guess what?
have that years.
But here he's not totally incorrect because Zaslav says there's a 10-year plan for DC. There is a 10-year plan. So, but that's
They
why
just
they.
don't
I
have
think
it with the characters, is what I mean.
yeah,
The
and
Dwayne Johnson and Ben Affleck. I guess Ben Affleck, is he around what uh Robert Downey Jr.'s age in the first Iron Man?
uh, I think so. No,
I
I
think
think
he's older, isn't he?
he's older. Robert Downey Jr. was in his 40s when he took over. Uh, I think when he started as Iron Man. I think you have 10 years
Yeah,
still.
yeah, because he's only 57 now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think you can. I still think you can do it because Batman. Let's be honest.
hey,
Apparently Keaton killed it as Batman 70 plus in one movie in The Flash. So towards the end, you're still in a suit. He could probably still grind it out at the end. I think they can do it, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight.
so Johnny Murrow says, and I was actually going to talk about this. With James Gunn now being CEO of DC, I'm hoping for a teenage Harley Quinn story from James Gunn. He was mentioning in the article, and this is coming from James Gunn several times, that
Teenage.
he was saying he was putting Harley Quinn right up there
Yeah,
with Wonder Woman and everybody.
yeah, he was. I mean, it's guaranteed there's going to be a Harley Quinn project with Margot Robbie. What it is, don't know. Will he direct it? Maybe. Teenage though, is that a jab at James Gunn? I'm thinking maybe.
Oh, I'm sure that is. But it made me think about what he was actually saying.
You're
I
right,
just
because
I think
he mentioned the big guns and then threw in Harley Quinn too.
I think the big gun though is Margot Robbie, and how she played Harley Quinn is amazing in my opinion. And man, if you can
Oh,
keep her as one of the main actors in
yeah,
DCU, that's right there with Scarlett Johansson.
yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Birds of Prey, but she as Harley is undeniable. It's like, man, I don't know if anyone else ever could play Harley. I know Lady Gaga is, but that that
That's
version
gonna
is
be
going to be
dumb.
that's going to be so different.
A lot of singing.
Yeah, it's just not going to be the same, and that's fine. I don't mind it being its own little Elseworld universe movie. But the main Harley Quinn is Margot Robbie. It's like, wow, she's incredible in that role. I mean, it's kind of like Robert Downey Jr. It's going to be hard to ever see anyone else actually play Iron Man. It's going to be years before they try it.
Well, we had it in the first Suicide Squad with her actually being with the Joker a little bit. Are we finally going to have Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn with a Joker at some point?
Oh, I think so. There's some internet rumor, and maybe if someone knows out there, let us know. That James Gunn has a serious beef with Jared Leto, so they're all saying, "Well, they'll never have his version of Joker now because those two guys can't stand each other." So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, I thought Jared Leto's Joker was absolutely horrible.
It wasn't good in that version, but apparently the air cut version is something that's quite different. I would like to see that and then judge it. But you're
Okay.
right. The version in the Suicide Squad was, I don't hate it as much as you do, but it's not great either.
But nobody liked even Morbius. And it's something with Jared Leto that people just don't like.
I don't think he's well received. Yeah, he won an Academy Award, but so what if he's not liked by the general public? They're the one paying for the movies. So yeah.
I tell you, he said this with James Gunn reboots Batman in the DC studios. I bet we get solo movies and series for Robin, Batgirl, and Gotham Knight. I know it's early, but I can see this happening. I tell you, the more I'm playing the video game Gotham Knights, the more I'm in for an actual series or something just about those characters. They
Yeah.
Nightwing is too big not to be ever in the big screen.
Oh, he is. Johnny's right. This is a prime opportunity to finally flesh out the Batman universe and get Robin, Dick, Nightwing, Tim Drake, Red Hood, Azrael.
I think you
Uh,
need Damian Wayne too.
oh yes, yes, of course, Damian. And I think you can do that with Ben Affleck. He's older. You can
I still go
definitely see
young
him
with
having a
Damian Wayne,
son. Oh yeah, yeah,
teenager.
definitely. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to see, and that's my one criticism of the Batman is that it's like I just don't see. It's so gritty, it's so realistic. It just doesn't feel like it's the Batman family stuff fits in that universe. So once again, we're deprived of all that cool stuff because it's the gritty, dirty loner Batman, which I like,
Yeah.
but man, I'm ready to see all this other version of his Bat family because I feel I that itch was scratched for me with the Nolan movies. I mean, for that gritty realism, I already saw all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see the Bat family. That's what I want to see, and I agree with you. I mean, Nightwing is one of my all-time favorites too. I mean, he's top five. Dick Grayson's one of the greatest characters of all time. He deserves a movie for sure.
This might be horrible, but I don't even want the storyline about Dick Grayson and Batman, as being Robin. I'm already past that. I need him to go ahead and be adult Dick Grayson and become Nightwing. You can give a little quick backstory about the Robin part, but
Yeah.
we don't need a whole movie of explaining that.
No, and I mean I know it's not continuity, but we got a Robin origin in Batman Forever. Go watch that if you want to see a Robin origin. I totally agree. Like this needs to be like, nope, Dick's a grown man. He's Nightwing. We have a Robin, whether it's Tim Drake or maybe Damian. That's what you should start with. Totally agree. Let's go full tilt into that.
I'm almost fine with the first movie being about Jason Todd and Dick Grayson being Nightwing, and the whole thing about Todd being killed. And then maybe during the same movie somehow start switching it where Jason Todd now is Red Hood and bad and going after people, and they're sort of trying to hunt him down.
Oh, I'd love to see a big screen version of Jason was killed off screen, and it's all about Red Hood coming out and Dick and Bruce are kind of going after him. Phew, yeah,
It'd
that
be
would be
awesome.
that would be killer. Hey, and
But
throw in Batgirl too. I mean,
oh, I like that character too,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
as
it's a
long as it's
shame
done
that
right.
Batgirl movie was canned. It would have been cool to have that part of all this DC. I mean, it would have been cool to have it be quality with Affleck's Batman in it, and to have a Batgirl movie on HBO Max. I'm sad that we're not getting it, or that it apparently was that crappy. So
So Sam says it's going to be an origin because the average moviegoer won't understand it.
yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Sam. For most characters, I think that's true. I'm not sure
But
that's
what
true
it
for like Batman and Robin. I think you got a few characters like we don't need to see Spider-Man's origin again, and thank goodness Kevin Feige didn't do
yeah.
that. We don't need to see Superman. We don't need to see Krypton blowing up again. We just don't. I don't want to see Bruce's parents killed one more time.
Exactly. What did I tell you though when we were walking out of Black Adam about Hawkman?
You wanted to know more about Hawkman. I mean, you
What
were
is
so
wrong with
intrigued.
that? What is
Yeah,
wrong with coming out of a movie and wanting to know more and then, hey, I'm gonna look up some comics of
yeah,
Black Adam and I'm gonna read about him.
yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, that's how it should be for a comic movie. You should walk out of there going like, "Ooh, man, you mean there's like hundreds of issues of comics to read about this character? I'm gonna
Yeah.
dive into some of that. I want
Yeah.
to read more. Like, what's a good place to start? Which is hard for comics, but the point is, yeah, I want to like, ooh, give me a good Hawkman comic to read. Oh, okay, go try this.
I mean,
Yeah,
Dick and Tim pretty much will have really close to the same origin story. And then Jason's just as the rebel that was, grew up on the streets. So
yeah.
you just don't need that.
I
I
I
don't think.
mean, here's my theory. You could do one of those quick kind of memory origins, kind of like how they showed us in like when Feige did the Incredible Hulk. It's like, hey, we don't need to see the Hulk's origin again. We had one a few years earlier. Let's just kind of show our version real quick in the opening credits, and maybe you could do something like that for whoever for Jason Todd. Like have some flashbacks of it,
Yeah.
but you
Yep.
go. Um, that's my opinion. I think most people could catch up on that. Now, if you're introducing Booster Gold to the screen, you need to have an origin. I
You
mean,
got to say something.
yeah, yeah. You need, solo movies for these guys. Yeah, you got to tell the origin. You just have to. But I think, in my opinion, some of those big guns. I think maybe people are like, yeah, we've all seen that. Even if it's you know, go back and watch the movie. You don't need to read the comic. Go back on like for Spider-Man. Go watch Tobey Maguire
Yeah.
and Andrew Garfield. You got origins. You don't need another one.
Yep. I agree. That's all I got. That was good.
Hey, yeah, we got exciting stuff. I'm super pumped for DC. Super excited to see what happens next week. And hey, last thing I want to say, it's almost Halloween. If you haven't watched Werewolf by Night on Disney
Oh,
Plus, it might be the greatest thing they've produced on Disney Plus. It's only 1 hour, but it almost trumps everything else they've done. I loved
I
it so. I've watched it 3 times. I love it so much.
it was so well produced. Like as a geek now of editing and all that kind of stuff, the sounds that they used, just the black and white, everything that they did was fantastic in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah,
you could tell it wasn't the biggest budget, but at the
yeah.
same time, how they used what they were able to use was
Ooh,
fantastic.
so effective. Yeah, I was as a Werewolf by Night fan myself. So incredibly well done. Spoiler, man, things in it, and that blew me away. Yeah, the action was great. Everything was so well done.
Oh,
Yes, I'm glad you liked it, Sam.
I,
I loved it. I think that guy should direct Blade. I hope he does. He'd be perfect for it.
well, the guy that's the main video guy for our church that does all the media stuff, he was just texting that Werewolf by Night was just fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And we know we probably can't believe Doomcock, but apparent, according to
oh
his
god,
sources, uh, the She-Hulk ratings were so bad for Marvel. I mean, better than a lot of shows, but for Marvel, it struggled to get a few million views, where I guess Werewolf by Night has been viewed over 90 million times. Don't know if it's true, but I like the sound of it because I really like Werewolf by Night, so I'm gonna go with it.
I liked it. So I hope it does well. I hope it
Yeah,
does something else, and maybe we'll get a movie out of that.
yeah, yeah. We haven't seen the last of those characters, that's for sure.
Good. All right.
All right, yeah,
Well, you all have a good day.
we're out. Till next time.
See ya.
See ya.